All right, today we are breaking down one of the most powerful concepts in the entire business world, scalability. You can think of it as the secret sauce, right? It's what separates a solid, steady company from the absolute giants that achieve explosive, world-changing growth. So let's dive in and see how it really works.
Have you ever wondered about this? Why is it that a company like Netflix can add millions of new subscribers and their profits just soar, while a local restaurant, just to serve a few dozen more people, has to build an entirely new location? Well, the answer is hiding in their business architecture, and that's the big question we're going to tackle today.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to define what scalability really is. Then we'll look at the two different paths companies can take to grow. After that, we'll dissect the DNA of a truly scalable business. We'll also see exactly why investors are willing to pay so much for it. And I'm going to leave you with a toolkit so you can spot these opportunities for yourself.
Okay, let's get right into it. Section 1. What in the world is business scalability? In simple terms, scalability is all about breaking that old, traditional link between your revenue and your costs. It's about a company's ability to grow, and I mean grow massively, serving more and more customers while its expenses stay pretty much flat. That is the magic formula. Revenue skyrockets while costs barely even move.
To really get this, it helps to put the two main growth models side by side. So that brings us to Section 2, the big showdown between linear and scalable growth.
So on one side, you've got linear growth. This is the traditional way of doing things, where making more money means you have to spend more money. It's a pretty direct one-to-one relationship. But then, on the other side, you have scalable growth. This is where a company can multiply its revenue without having to multiply its costs. It's really the difference between climbing a hill and launching a rocket.
Let's make this real with a quick example. Think about a construction company. It costs them X amount of money for materials and labor to build one house. Now, if they want to build two houses, their costs are going to roughly double to 2x. Sure, the revenue doubles, but so do the expenses. The profit margin on each house stays about the same.
Now, let's flip over to the scalable model with Netflix. It costs them a huge amount of money, let's call it Y, for all that content and servers to serve 1 million subscribers. But what does it cost to add another million subscribers? Almost nothing. The content is already there, the servers are already running, the revenue literally doubles, but the costs barely budge. That is the incredible power of scalability.
So how do they do it? What's the secret? Well, in Section 3, we're going to perform a little autopsy on a scalable business to find its key ingredients.
When you look under the hood of a scalable business, you'll almost always find these 4 key things. First, a cost structure that has really high upfront costs, but super low costs for each new customer. Second, their products are almost always digital or software-based. Third, they have these powerful things called network effects. And finally, they lean heavily on automation. Let's break each one down.
So, the first ingredient is all about how the money is spent. Scalable businesses often have these huge upfront or fixed costs. Think about building a massive software platform or funding a movie studio. But, and this is the important part, once that's done, the cost to serve one more customer, the variable cost, is tiny.
You can see it right here. A scalable business has this massive initial investment, right? That's the fixed cost. But after that's paid, the cost to add each new user is incredibly small. And that giant gap between the revenue you get from a new customer and the tiny cost to serve them, well, that's what fuels that insane exponential profit growth.
Our second ingredient is the product itself. The easiest way to get that super low variable cost is to sell something that can be copied infinitely for basically zero cost. And that, my friends, brings us to the wonderful world of digital goods.
Just think about it. Software as a service companies, streaming platforms like YouTube, pretty much any app on your phone. The classic example, of course, is Microsoft Windows. It costs them billions to develop, but whether they sell 1 copy or 1 billion copies, the cost to duplicate that software is, well, it's pretty much zero.
Next up, we have a truly powerful force, and it's called network effects. This is one of my favorites. It's when a product actually becomes more valuable as more people use it. This creates this incredible self-reinforcing growth loop. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and faster all on its own.
Yeah, the core idea is really that simple. The value goes up as more people jump on board. Think about a platform like LinkedIn. If you're the only person on it, it's completely worthless, right?
But every single new person who joins makes the platform more valuable for everyone else, which then attracts even more users. It's growth that literally feeds itself.
And the final piece of this whole puzzle is automation. Scalable businesses use technology to do the work that in the old days would have required an army of people. This is what allows them to serve millions of customers without having to hire millions of employees.
Okay, so we know what scalability is. We know what it's made of. But why should we care? Why does it matter so much? Well, that brings us to Section 4, the investor's payoff. This is the big reason why these companies often get such high valuations in the market. For an investor, the payoff really comes down to three things. First, just massive profit potential once those initial costs are covered. Second, a huge competitive advantage. Because their cost per customer is so low, it's almost impossible for traditional businesses to compete with them on price. And third, all of this leads to much higher market valuations because investors are willing to pay a premium for all that future growth.
And now for our final section. Let's turn all this knowledge into a practical tool that you can actually use. How can you spot a scalable business out there in the wild?
The goal here is pretty simple. I want to give you a mental checklist. So the next time you're looking at a company, you can run it through a few key questions to really get a feel for its potential for scalable growth.
So here it is, your scalability litmus test. Just ask yourself these questions. Could this company serve 10 times more customers without a 10-time increase in its costs? What's the balance between its big, upfront fixed costs and its ongoing variable costs? Critically, does adding one more customer cost way less than what that customer pays? And finally, how much of the work is done by automation versus actual people? The answers to these questions will tell you almost everything you need to know.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We've seen technology make software and media incredibly scalable. The big question now is, which industry is next? Hey, thank you for watching. Before you go, do me a favor and drop a comment below. Let me know which stock or which sector you'd like to see me analyze next. I really do read all of your comments. And remember, here on your analyzer, we don't just talk about stocks. We actually explain and teach the fundamental concepts so that you can analyze these companies all on your own. So for more deep dives and market insights, go ahead and subscribe to the channel now, and don't forget to hit that bell icon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Disclaimer. Educational content only. Not SEBI registered. This is not a buy/sell recommendation. Invest at your own risk.